Welcome to this week's Biz Tip. This week, I'm being interviewed about my book, Big Hug, Big Kiss, now available on Amazon.
Tell us a little bit about your book and maybe just a few tips on how to become a referral magnet like you.
Yeah, sure. So I didn't mean for it to happen, but I call it Big Hug, Big Kiss because my Aunt Marianne was my first true mentor. And I started cleaning. My first job was when I was 12, and I cleaned her house every Sunday. But I found out later she gave me the job to teach work ethic. She's like, Jennifer, I had a maid come during the week. And I'm like, why? I came on Sunday and I cleaned for like 4 hours. She's like, Jen, you were 12. I thought I did this great job, and who knows. But the point is, she really started instilling. And then as I got older, she started, bringing me to her off, as I was older and could drive. And I'd meet her at Ruth Chris and we'd have dinner, and one of her, work colleagues would come by. So she was the first woman vice president of a major oil company back in the 80s, Coastal States Management. And she was the first woman elected to the Mercantile Exchange, which is a big deal. And I didn't realize it at the time until years later. She was just my Aunt Marianne. But her tag trader ID was BHBK, Big Hug, Big Kiss, because she just kissed and hugged everybody. Like, she was just very personable, very relational. And so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna dedicate this book to her. So I really made the book around her, and I was like, how can I ingrain this? And really, when you're in any kind of business, I don't care if you sell widgets, I don't care if you sell plants, you can sell anything, but showing people you care is really, and that's what she did. Like, when you were with her, you were with her, you were like, she really made people feel very special. And I really learned a lot from her, not knowing until later on when I was starting my own journey, that she had instilled in me these qualities. I was like, I wonder how I got this way, and it was from her.
That's so Big
Hug, Big Kiss is about, really, I outlay some tactics that were really, looking back, very simple, that I did early on. And that was, the main one I would say is having a repetitive touch point to people. So early on, even when I couldn't afford it, I mailed out, physical, like, postcards, time change reminders twice a year to everybody that I knew. And I didn't have a ton of money back then. Like, I used to lick the stamps. I don't do that anymore, but I still do it to this day. I do it 6 times a year instead of 2, but like, just that repetitive touch point. And then when email, back in the 90s, email was kind of coming of age, but when it really started banging in 2000, probably, I started to send a weekly email to all the referral partners. Realtors are my biggest source. A repetitive email the same day of the week, same time of the day, always around 4 o'clock, with the same title. I would just say that probably has been my silver bullet, magic wand, you can call it whatever you want. I still do it to this day. Every week, you get my interest rate update.
Yeah, I sure do.
It's called Interest Rate Update. It goes out, and you may not realize this, but it goes out on Friday in the afternoon. And it's every week, repetitive. And that repetitive. I've had people call me after years of, oh, Jen, I've been watching, and it's time for us to do business. I'm like, fantastic.
Amazing.
So it really does work. And I do some of it with the past clients now too. But I would say, for people in any kind of a business, find something of value that's a little bit uncommon. Don't send what everybody else is sending. And don't send something canned. Like, anyone can buy a newsletter and send it. Make something of your own. If it's a video, if it's a blog, I like to write, so mine's in writing. Just do something. Call it the same thing, same week. Make sure that it's valuable, giving value to the recipients, and keep doing it over
Absolutely.
and over and over and over again. And it will grow your business.
I 100% agree.
Really
And
well.
you just never know who's watching or paying attention.
Yeah.
You and I both do these Tuesday tip video emails that go out on Tuesdays. And I have started getting more and more referrals from that. And I've been consistently doing it for 2 years, almost three now.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes time, but yeah, that consistency
And there's people watching that you don't even know are watching, because honestly, I don't go back in and read the metrics. I could and see everybody that's opening it. Like, who has the time? I
right.
just know that it's going
Yeah.
out. And you're going to get I've got someone that's been watching me for like 6 years. And
That's awesome.
he came to one of my events last week and said, you know what? I've been watching you. And I came to see you and hear what you had to say. Of course, I was interested in the topic. And it was a great encounter. So you just never know. And I've always had that big hug, big kiss mentality, honestly, that when people are ready, they're going to show up. And I'm going to love on you whenever that is. I'm just going to keep dripping, keep calling, whatever my follow-up plan is, depending on who you are. Like if you're a client, I have a certain method, referral sources. I'm like, hey, when you're ready, you will appear. Raise your hand. I will love on you as hard as I can when that time happens. Bygones be bygones. Like the last 7 years that you weren't referring me, you don't need to explain. Like it's okay. And so I think when you have that, let's call it big hug, big kiss mentality towards everything, like I don't get sideways when people stop referring me. It just doesn't work anymore. It's okay. I've had realtors leave me. It's okay. It's okay. Because if it's not a win-win. And so I think having that peace in my heart and having that big hug, big kiss, I'm just going to love on you anyway. Like whatever happens, even if we don't do business anymore. And I think that has gotten me far, and it's helped me just develop just this blessing of a business where I'm able to really impact and give back. And so anyway, big hug, big kiss is out in 2 weeks. So after October, you can just big hug, big kiss on Amazon.
Okay, awesome. That was going to be
you
one of my
can download
questions.
it. Yeah, either
Okay.
Kindle or hard copy. And it's short. It's like 50 pages. Like it's not, it's an easy read. Yeah, and it just has some tactics in there of how I've been able to be successful that you can start today. I mean, you don't need a 28-year career to have a successful business. In fact, I wish I knew some of the things I knew now. Then I would have saved me a lot of heartache, but then it wouldn't be my journey, right?
Right, absolutely. And now you can share that journey with other people
Yeah.
and help them avoid those pitfalls. So
yeah, you can start right now, for
Yeah.
anybody out, entrepreneur. And like I said, it doesn't matter what you're selling, the concepts and the baseline, the foundation is the same.
Right.
For
Absolutely.
anything. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And I love that the book is short because then people can like read it in a weekend and start implementing and change their business.
An hour and a half. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
super easy. Yeah.
So we're kind of coming to an end of our show, but I have a few questions for you. So what's one piece of advice you would give somebody who is wanting to chase their dreams?
I would say listen to your gut instinct, whether it's about a relationship in your life. Like, I'm not sure if you have an instinct that something is not, it just doesn't feel right, it usually means that it doesn't.
Yeah.
That's probably my biggest advice, because I think that when people listen to their instinct, it's usually right. So I would say follow those signs that are put in front of you when something doesn't feel right, or when it does feel right. If you just feel in your heart like this is it and you feel convicted about it, you're going to open up some doors for sure. That's my
totally
biggest
agree with
advice.
that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes sometimes our gut is telling us one thing and our heart's telling us one thing, but our brain is like trying to protect us, and so we just have to, I totally agree with follow your instinct.
Yeah.
What is one book or podcast that's been very influential in your life?
I really like David Goggins. He's a little gruff for some people. He cusses a lot, and some people are like, oh, he drops too many F-bombs. I'm like, you know what, girl, you're missing the whole point. Like, he is so authentic and has so many mistakes he's made, like we all do. And it really is about getting out of your head. I mean, if you don't know who David Goggins is, like Navy SEAL and runs ultra marathons for breakfast. Like, dude is a machine. Now, I'm not going to go out and run 100 miles, but overcoming mind over matter, it just really is a testament to what people really are capable of and pushing the limits. He's like, when you feel that you're exhausted and that you can't do anymore, you've got 40% left in the tank. So he's got a lot of powerful messages. I would say that's the one that really stands out. So just, he's got a couple books out. I like him a lot. I like to follow, all his stuff. So
Yeah.
and there's so many others, but he's one that stands out.
I think I have one of his books on my wish list on Audible. I need to download it and listen to it.
Yeah, Audible is better because between chapters, it's a podcast. So the Audible is really bonus. Yeah, it's really great. Yeah.
And lastly, how can people find you?
Loan with Jen. All my handles, website, social media, YouTube, Loan with Jen, Jen. And look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on today. All those tips about the home buying process and then also the becoming a referral magnet. And I'm so excited about your book. I can't wait for that to come out. I'm going to definitely buy it and read it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jen.